What's up guys, TechLab here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at something new that came through the post. Now we are doing a mini small build soon, and for that build we needed a couple of fans. So we reached out to our friends at Noctua and they sent along these, and today I want to just go through them with you just to show you what you get and how they actually get these things looking super premium. Okay, so for our up and coming build, we are doing something on the miniature scale, and for that we needed a couple of little small fans to actually go in that build to provide some kind of airflow. But it's been a long time since I've purchased something like an 80mm fan, and historically I remember they are pretty loud, they are pretty noisy, and they barely move any air. So I started to search around to see what is the best options out there. Now there were a couple of options from companies like Arctic, but in the end what we did is we reached out to our friends at Noctua to see what they had, and this is what they sent along. These are the Noctua NF-A8 PWM fans, and when they turned up I expected something that wasn't actually this good looking. I assumed that it would just come in a pretty basic box and that they'd be pretty basic fans because, I mean, who buys 80mm fans nowadays? But to my surprise they came extremely well packaged and they have that pure Noctua premium look to them. When it comes to specifications of these fans, we can just have a quick look at the back. They are obviously an 80mm fan, and the ones that they provided were the Chromax black swap. Now what that actually means is the fans are actually black. They do come at a little bit more of a premium than their normal brown or grey fans, and that's exactly what the Chromax black kind of means. But then you get to the swap, and what that actually means is you can put these little corners on for the anti-vibration, and they come in different colours. And once we get into the packaging, we'll take a look at the different colours they provide. But continuing on through the specs here, they are 4-pin PWM, which is great to see because we always love a good 4-pin PWM fan. They use an SS02 bearing. Not really sure what that actually means, but it's Noctua, they're going to be good. They have a maximum rotation speed, or RPM, of 2200, which is quite phenomenal for a little tiny fan like this. I'm hoping they're not too loud because of that. Generally with 80mm fans they tend to be quite loud because the smaller the fan, the faster they need to turn to actually push enough air into a system, and obviously the speed of a fan increases the noise, so let's hope that isn't the case here. When it comes to acoustical noise, they have a maximum dBA of 17.7, which is actually extremely low for an 80mm fan, so I really am hoping that they're pretty quiet because I really can't stand a loud machine. And they have a static pressure of 2.37mm H2O, which is reasonably okay. You wouldn't stick it on a radiator, but they're generally okay. Now the fans designs are typically a hybrid design, so in theory the static pressure should be pretty good, but they're going to pump enough air into the system. We just now crack on with opening the box and we'll show you what you actually get inside. Just like all Noctua products, the box is absolutely beautiful and it pretty much tells you everything you need to know. And then when you open it up, nothing changes there. Here we have the fan in the middle and we have it in this plastic insert with a selection of colourful anti-vibration corners. And as you can see, we've got black ones, got a black one, we've got green, red, blue, yellow and white, so you can pretty much get these to match any build that you want. On the top here we do only get a bit of a sample, there isn't any more, so the rest of them are in a box inside. But if we actually take this out, because we need to do this to actually remove the fan, just move that over to the side there, we can take a look at the extra box that comes in it. So this is the extra box that they provide. Inside we've got a selection of stuff. We'll tip them out there. No, that's all of them. So when it comes to those anti-vibration corners, obviously we've got red ones plus the red one in here. That means we've got 4 red ones, 4 green ones, 4 blue ones, 4 white, 4 yellow, but we do have 8 black. Now the reason for that is because you can actually fit the black ones onto the back of the fan, which connects to the system, and then you can put the nice coloured ones on the front, so that can actually blend in with the build. So it's nice to see that they included the 8 of the corners, because otherwise it could get a little bit annoying, and they didn't really need to provide all the others because it sits against the case. You also get 4 screws for obviously mounting the fan, very typical of any kind of fan manufacturer. And then we come to the fan itself. Now the fan itself was, when I first opened this, was actually a little bit of a pain to take out because of this extra long cable you get, but we'll take it out and we'll feed it through the back hole here, a little bit tight. And then you can eventually get the fan out just like this. And then once I did that, I actually realized there's a little bit of a cool thing on here. Now, you do get the extra length cable here, and the cable that they've actually provided, it is a Noctua one, and it is an NAEC1 4-pin extension cable. Now, it is an extension cable because it's not actually connected to the fan. If you just remove the extension cable from the fan itself, you can see the extension cable is completely separate. And then when you actually look at the fan, you have this tiny little 4-pin PWM connection coming off here. Now, I didn't realize that that was actually something they did, but it is pretty damn cool. And that's because when you're building a tiny little system, you don't want all this extra length to actually go and hide into the case, particularly if you're running multiples of these. So we should be able to simply get a connection or a splitter of some description. I know that NZXT do some nice ones where they're all actually just little pinned on the end of the cable. So they look very similar to this, where it would plug into your motherboard, but then you have like these 3 or 4 small little connectors at the end, and that would be perfect for rowing up these fans, so you got less cables in the system. That actually goes into the back of the fan here, and then if we take a look on the back here, we've got the Chromax sticker, which is obviously what everybody wants. They want the nice little Chromax sticker to show off their PC builds. We've got the frame here with the 4 pegs, so that's pretty good. Taking the fan around, it is an 80mm fan. There is no wobble in the bearing at all. It's actually pretty sturdy. So in terms of how fans go, they're actually pretty cool. When it comes to fitting the corner pieces, they fit very similar to all Noctua corners. They've basically got these 2 little pluggies on the end here. They simply go through the holes on the fan, and then you just pop them in just like that. So you can have mixed colors, you can have completely one color, or you can just fit black all the way around the fan to kind of blend into the system. The fan is an 80mm fan, so it's going to fit in most systems. They do these in 92mm and lots of others, and they do actually come at a bit of a premium. When it comes to the height of them, it is a 25mm fan, so if you're looking for something shallower, unfortunately these are not going to be for you. And I know that sometimes that can be a little bit awkward, because when we're trying to build these tiny mini PCs, having something shallow is usually a little bit nice, but obviously you're going to start restricting the airflow that you can get out of the fan, so they've pretty much stuck to something that kind of works. Now, I've mentioned the premium that you will pay for these a couple of times, but I haven't actually told you a figure. These fans are actually way more expensive than we would normally pay for fans. If you were looking at something in the 80mm range from Arctic, you'd be looking at about £7 or £8 per fan. Unfortunately, these ones cost you around 21. Now, for many of you out there, that's going to be an unbelievable number, that you're never going to spend that kind of money on an 80mm fan, particularly when you need multiples of them. But be rest assured, they are Noctua fans and they are extremely good. And when you're building a mini system, you want something high quality, you want something that is quiet, and you definitely want something that can push air, because the biggest problem with building mini systems is getting air into the system and flowing around. So at the end of the day, I think generally these are or can be worth it, particularly if the specifications are going to meet your needs, and they generally last forever as well. We have Noctua Redux fans that we've been running for years in systems, and now and again we just take them out, give them a little bit of a clean, take the dust off them, put them back in the systems, and they still perform as if they were new. So in the long run, they could be worth it. But you guys know me, my biggest consideration is how loud are they? And to do that, we're gonna have to get a bit of a power supply, and we'll hook them up to a power feed. Now, unfortunately, we don't have anything that can adjust the speeds of the fan. So what we'll do is we'll run it at full speed, and we'll see how loud it is when it's actually at that kind of level. Right, so we have cobbled together something that hopefully will work. We've got our custom modified power supply here. This one actually just turns on with the switch on the back. We actually rigged it up to do that, to test things like fans and RGB and coolers and things like that. Now we're going to be using the extra cable that comes in it. There is no sound or noise reduction inside this cable, although you can buy them from Noctua, as you may be already aware, and you can buy different types of them, and all they do is they tend to be a little tiny cable, same as this, but there is a little resistor in there that reduces how much power goes to the fan. So you can reduce them, make them quieter by slowing them down a bit. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to allow eventually the motherboard to control this, but what we'll do is we'll plug the fan in, and then we will plug it in to the power. Now that we've got the fan plugged into the power, we just need to hit the switch and we'll see what happens. So the fan has spun up and it is running at full speed. So this should be about 2200, and I'm not sure if you guys can hear it. It's actually pretty quiet. I'll bring it closer to the mic. You guys should be able to hear that. But it's not annoying at all. And obviously, if you're going to be running at this speed, you are going to hear something, particularly if you've got multiples in there. But I'm actually pretty happy with the how loud this is. It's a pretty quiet fan, even at full speed. But just as a random test, we're not doing any kind of real science here, but we've just got a piece of paper and we'll see how much airflow is coming off this. And I can actually tell there's quite a bit. I can feel it in my hand, but we lower this down. As you can see, the paper's starting to lift. If we actually drop it onto the desk, you can hear the fan vibrating on the desk, and that's because the fan's moving so fast. Obviously, if we were to fit those rubber mounts, that would actually take that away, so don't worry about that in your case, and that's probably why they actually provide them. But yeah, we've got plenty of airflow off this. There's no way that you're not going to get air into your system, particularly if you've got multiples of these. Now, the case that we're going to be using for this is actually going to be able to support 2 of these fans. So hopefully with 2 of them connected together, running probably at the same speed, we'll put them off the same connection. It's going to provide plenty of air into the case that we've got. But that brings us to the end of the look at the Noctua NF-A8 PWM 80mm fans. Now, if you guys want to be able to get these, just go and check in the description below, because we'll put some links to it. They are affiliate links and it really helps the channel out if you want to do that. You can also get them in the brown. They're a little bit cheaper, so if you don't care what they look like, I generally like the black or the grey ones. But if you don't mind the brown, you can get them in brown and they're a little bit cheaper. It's exactly the same specs, exactly the same fans, nothing different about them. But also don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see us do our mini build. We're going to be doing it soon on the channel. We're waiting for one part to come in for it. And then once it's in, we're actually going to put together one of the coolest little mini systems that I've wanted for a long time now. And I know you guys have wanted to see some builds here too, so make sure you do that. Drop the video a like if you like this kind of content. And if you want us to check out more kind of strange and weird things that come from different brands. But until then, we'll catch you in the next one.